All right, let's continue with task number 2. Here we're supposed to return the first article that we find on a wiki page that is not part of an article set. So the first thing we do is we define our arguments here. The URL is going to be a string, and then we're going to have an article set, which is going to be a set. And what do we need to do? Well, the first thing is that we're going to request the page. Requests get URL, and then we're going to turn the text of the response into a variable and turn the whole thing into a soup. And define the parser. All right, so now we have a soup, and since we're looking for links to other articles, we're going to look at all, or we're just going to get all the anchor links, so or the anchor tags. So for anchor tag in soup, find all A. Now obviously there are tons of different ways to achieve the same end result, right? So you don't necessarily have to do it this way. You can already at this point restrict the number of anchor tags you collect, but I'm going to do it this way. All right, so the first thing I want to check is that it actually contains an href, or rather, all right, so let's have a look at the wiki page. So here I have my wiki page for Albert Einstein, and let's just see what are the type of links that we want. So here, theory of relativity is a link to another article. You see this in a relative link, an internal link, just the title. Then there are going to be these citation things here. You see here, these are going to start with hashtags, so we don't want to include citations because they're just links to other parts of the site, as you can see here. What else? Now we obviously don't want links to external sites. So where are these going to be? Yeah, so here, for example, right? So this is a link here to another website, and that we don't want, right? So we need to exclude everything that starts with HTTP. And are there any other links here? For example, this bibcode link here. So let's have a look. So here you can see that this is links to a bibcode. So this is not really an article. Right, so I mean, I don't know if you consider this an article, but let's just exclude these. I mean, whatever you have in your own wiki, you might have slightly different exclusions, but I'm going to exclude everything that links to external website, everything that is a citation, and everything that starts with bibcode. Everything else should be a proper article. All right, so let's return to the code. So if the anchor tag in its href element, and because I'm checking the href element, I have to first make sure that it actually has one, right? So if the anchor has an href, only then I can actually continue. Right? So if this is the case, then we continue to check. And if that href of the anchor tag starts with, now I'm going to include a tuple here of possibilities that I don't want. So if it starts with HTTP, I'm going to exclude it. If it starts with a hash, I'm going to exclude it. And for me here, if it starts with the bibcode, I'm also going to exclude it, although you can argue that bibcode is actually just a regular article, but I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Now, if any of these apply, then I don't want to include it, so I add a not here. Right, so what else do I need to check for? If you look a lot at your pages, you might come across something that is a self-link. Right? So you see here self-link, that links to the same page. Now, that's probably not going to be found at the top of the page, but nevertheless, in this case here, we want to exclude everything that has the word self-link in its class. And for that, we also need to make sure that it actually has a class, right, if you want to exclude it. So either there's no class, so if not, if the anchor tag has no attribute that is a class, then that's fine. Or if it has a class, then at least the class should not contain the word self-link. In its class. Again, here important that we first check whether it has a class, otherwise this would produce an error. All right, so if it does have either no class at all, or at least the word self-link is not in the classes, then we're nearly there. The last thing we need to check is that whatever href we have now is not already in the article set. So if not anchor tag, and then we look at the href, is in the article set, so it's not included, then we're going to return that href. And that means the function is just going to run until it has found one href that is not starting with HTTP, that doesn't have a hash at the beginning, this stuff with bibcode, doesn't contain the class self-link, and is not in the set of articles that we're passing on, and then it finishes the function. All right, so let's give this a go and see. Let's try the URL here from Albert Einstein. Obviously, remove this stuff here at the end. Right, so here's our Einstein article. Now, what is the first thing we should get here? Theory of relativity. So this needs to go become a string. And now we just try it out first with an empty set. What's the problem here? String has no start with because it starts with. Let's try this again. Okay, so the first one is theory of relativity. Okay, now we want to make sure that our set thing here works. So let's create a set of the first few articles. So theory of relativity, quantum mechanics. So here's the hyperlink quantum mechanics. And let's exclude one more. So next thing should be Nobel Prize. Again, copy paste. Nobel Prize in Physics. So these should be now excluded, and then it should find the fourth one. Okay, that would be general relativity. And where is general relativity? Special relativity, where's the general one? I missed it apparently. Where is it? Okay, it's probably somewhere in these. That's here. Okay. Okay, so here's the first link that we find. So it turns out that this is the next link in the DOM. So this is actually correct. All right, good. So that works. So on to the next task.